This is the Flourishing Business Podcast. This podcast is for women who are flourishing in business or who want to be. Today, my guest is Melissa Kottlenberg. Melissa is a certified holistic health coach and wellness educator with doTERRA. She helps overworked and stressed individuals prioritize nutrition, exercise, and stress management so that they can live vibrant, energized, and focused lives. She's also a mama of 5 and a heart mom to an 11-year-old heart warrior. He was born with severe congenital heart defects, which required 3 open heart surgeries by the time he turned 2 years old. A few years ago, she and her husband Brian were really frustrated with the consistent struggles of their son's respiratory health, his frequent hospital admissions, and constant need for antibiotics to fight every little cough and cold. At 4 years old, when he started developing resistance to antibiotics and they no longer worked for him, they thought to themselves, there has to be a better way. And so they asked a question that changed their lives forever. Is there a safe, effective, and affordable way to keep our son out of the hospital and support his health naturally? What they discovered changed the course of their entire lives and empowered them as parents, so they set out on a mission to empower other families, communities, and even the world. Before we get started, I want to welcome you to the Flourishing Business Podcast. I am your host, Allison Liddick, owner of Allison Liddick Coaching, where I work with Christian women running their businesses and trying to do it all in life. I am a wife of 19 years, mom of 3 beautiful girls, and I have an unhealthy love of coffee and Ray Dunn. Seriously. But for real, my passion and purpose is helping Christian women flourish in business and life, and to learn how to have supernatural focus on God's plan for their business. It's an honor to get to coach women from all over. I am also the host of another podcast called The Shared Cup, where women share their stories of how they've experienced Jesus Christ work in their lives. Check it out anywhere you listen to podcasts. All right, let's dive into today's episode.
Melissa, thank you again so much for taking time out of your day to join me on the podcast.
You are very welcome. It's so nice to be here and good to see you again, Allison.
Yes. And so those that don't know you, why don't you share a little bit about who you are and where you're from?
So I'm a mom of 5. That's how I always start. That seems to be like my identity, right?
Right.
I'm a mom of 5. And I live in Ontario, Canada, so just north of Toronto. And our 5 kids keep us really busy. My husband and I own a carpentry business together. We've been in operation for 8 years. And then now our oldest son is looking into, he's apprenticing for general carpentry as well.
Oh, cool.
So he's hoping someday down the road to take over the business. So our oldest is 19 and then our youngest is 8. So we've got, a wide range of children in various stages of their life. So keeps us very busy for sure.
Yes, you have a beautiful family. That's
Thanks.
cool. Yes. So tell us about your business. What do you do besides the carpentry business, of course, and being a mom and all of that? Tell us about your business.
Sure. So I am a certified holistic health coach, which basically means I'm a trained, certified professional who can help my clients with their health and various areas of their health, not just their physical health, but also like their emotional health. Everything is all connected, right? So it's a holistic approach to help, body, mind, and soul. So what I do is I educate and encourage my clients in all areas of their life. It could be something like, balancing their work life with their family life and all the things. It could be helping them with nutrition and meal planning. It could be helping them with their exercise goals, or even just helping them develop a healthy mindset and just kind of, getting those blockages out of the way that can kind of stand in their way from achieving their wellness goals. So I'm also a wellness educator with doTERRA, which is the #1 essential oil company in the world. And I'm a gold level leader with doTERRA. So as a certified holistic health coach and a wellness educator, what I do is I help overworked individuals to prioritize their stress management, their nutrition, and their exercise so that they can live vibrant and energized and focused lives. So I do this through one-on-one coaching. I can also do it through group coaching. Right now, because of COVID, we're doing a lot of things online or over the phone. So the blessing to that is that you can work with anybody from all over the world. So that's awesome. But yeah, certainly if there's people local to me, then I will still meet with them one-on-one if they're comfortable with that.
Very good. What an amazing business that you have. I mean, it is all so interconnected. So I'm glad that you cover all of that rather than like, okay, let's just give you a nutrition plan and good luck.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, all of the things that you just talked about are so important, like the mindset and the things around you, like your lifestyle and all of that. So very cool. I'm glad you're doing that. What are the type of people, like what kind of clients do you typically work with if someone's listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to work with her? Who are your ideal clients?
So I work mostly with women. I do work with some men, but mostly with women. And that's usually because they are like the primary decision maker for when it comes to the health of their families, right? Okay. So women will come to me who are dealing with, problems with their weight, or maybe they've got some chronic pain, or maybe they have trouble sleeping, or maybe they have children that have health concerns and they're wanting to, have some extra tools and tips to help increase their immune system, especially at this time of the year, right? So those are the people that are coming to me, and the women that I work with. And I something that I'm really, really passionate about is helping with immune system function, because that is the journey that we have been on with our son. So we have a son who's 11 years old, and he was born with severe congenital heart defects. And so he's had quite a journey in his life. He's had 3 open heart surgeries at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. And then once the cardiac condition sort of stabilized, he still struggled with his respiratory health. So he had a lot of coughs and colds, a lot of pneumonia, required multiple hospital stays and rounds of antibiotics. And so we kind of were in a position where we were searching for answers, and we weren't getting those answers from our medical community. And so I had to just kind of figure things out on my own. And so what we discovered kind of changed the trajectory of his life and of my life. So I just really don't want other women, other families to have to deal with what we dealt with. And I don't want them to have to experience, all of the hospital stays and having the family torn apart. And it's really tough. Right. So that's something that when someone comes to me with, a child who has a weaker immune system, or the kids are always getting sick from school or daycare, that's my jam. It's like, let me help you, right? Let me teach you the ways. Mm-hmm.
I can hear the passion in your voice, and obviously you have a good reason for it, right? But you're providing so much hope and healing. So I love what you're all about and what you do. So thank you for sharing that. I'll have you share a little bit towards the end how people get in touch with you, if that's all right. But I want to dive into your business, because I know that you have had quite a bit of success, just looking at everything that you have accomplished. So I want to share some hope and encouragement for people about that point, maybe when they're stuck, or if you've ever had to overcome anything. So can you share a story where you felt like you kind of hit a brick wall in your business, or you had something happen that you had to overcome?
Yeah, well, I can't think of any one particular event specifically, because there are several times where we have challenges in our business, right? I mean, your business has ebbs and flows, right? You've got good days and you've got bad days, you've got good months and bad months. And so for me, the challenges in my business would be when, a family member doesn't take you seriously, or they don't want to heed your advice, even though they've asked you, or they don't believe in the products that you're promoting. Or even things like when you have someone who links arms with you and wants to come alongside you in the business and do what you're doing. You pour your time and your resources and your energy into this person, and then it either doesn't work out, they quit, or they say it's too hard, or they just, they think they're building a business and they're not. So there's always times in the business where, we can get frustrated, and we can get down, and we can just feel like quitting. There's definitely times where I just feel like quitting, for sure.
So how do you overcome that?
I think the thing for me is to go back to my why, remembering, what it is why it is that I do what I do. And this business was like a gift to me. It was not something that I pursued. It wasn't something I was looking for. As I mentioned, we stumbled across some products to help our son with his immune system. And so it just kind of naturally evolved into a business. So I feel like God literally placed my business like on my lap and said, okay, I've given you these gifts of the earth, and, they've brought hope and healing to your family. Now go into the world and do the same. Right. So for me, it's just when I have a bad day or a bad moment, and I feel frustrated, I just go back to that. And I go back to the fact that this was a gift that God gave me, and I have a calling and I have a purpose. And so, I do it for him, and I do it because I feel that strong urging in my heart to go and help people. So I let that be, the fuel that kind of wakes me up in the morning and gets my feet on the floor and gets me up and excited for my day. It's like, the fuel to, keep my day going, and it gives me purpose. It gives me intention.
That's really good. And that's something I feel like we can so quickly be overcome and overwhelmed with whatever we're facing or whatever we're coming up against at the moment. And we just want to throw our hands up, right? Be like, forget it. If we've lost sight of our why, and why did you start this in the first place? Why do you feel that God placed you in this position? Because for us as Christian business owners, God did place this in our lives. Like you said, he placed that business on your lap. You would have never gone and been like, this is what I'm going to do, right? You went through experiences and he set that on your lap. So it's you being a good steward of his gift to remember that, what you just shared. So reconnecting with your why is so important to get back to that, just to keep you moving.
For sure. And I feel like when you can get back to your why, when you can dig really deep into why you're doing what you're doing, then it doesn't become ever about the income. It's not about the rank. It's not about the title. It's really just about, the impact that we're creating on the world and the way that we can help other people.
Amen. So if you don't mind, so I know you have your coaching business, but you're also in the direct sales space with doTERRA. What advice do you have for women that are in the direct sales business, or any lessons that you have learned just going through that business model? Because I know that's something that can be frustrating for some, where they think it's going to be this big thing and then they're just out quickly, but look at you, you're super successful. So what advice do you have for people that are in direct sales specifically?
I would say that if you have found a product that really resonates with you, and like whatever it is that you're trying to promote or trying to sell, you really got to stand behind the products and stand behind the company, right? So if you believe in the products and you believe that they're helpful and that other people could use them, but you also have a beautiful company that has integrity, good morals, that has just like a real genuine love and concern for others, and that they're a good, reputable company, then just keep going. Like if you're like, don't stop. The only way to fail in this kind of business is to flat out quit. So I just keep telling myself that, right? I have to keep going. I have to keep going because there's going to be hard days, and you're going to hear no an awful lot in this business, right? But just, be yourself, be real, be authentic, develop real, authentic relationships with people, and a lot of times these businesses are not just a sales business, but it's also a relationship business. So, you won't see me doing like mass texts to people like, hey girl, I just started this new online business and I want to tell you about it. If I haven't talked to that person in 5 years, you're not going to see me throwing out a message like that, right? So I know in some direct sales companies that can be the approach that they teach their advocates, and it's not my thing. That's not my thing at all. Like I really want to make sure that we're in a relationship of trust first before I even talk about the product kind of thing, right? So just my advice would be to just be real, be authentic, and keep going. If you believe in what you're doing, then you will be successul.
Great advice. I love all of that. The relationship is key. That's honestly in any type of sale, it's a relationship sale, right? Except if it's a completely hands-off online thing, right? Where they never have to see you. But otherwise, they're buying you, really. I mean, yes, they're buying a solution or whatever it may be. But first, they have to know and trust you as a person. So I love that that's your number one piece of advice. Like build the build the relationships with people first, because that's truly where you're going to be able to have a greater impact anyway. Because you know their needs, you know what they really need.
For sure.
So that's good. And keep going. Don't quit. That's the only way to really fail. So that's great. I mean, for direct sales or not, any type of business, keep pushing through. It's going to get hard before the floodgates open, right? It's going to feel hard. So a lot of the women that listen to this podcast are also moms, right? So we're running businesses and we're taking care of kids. And with things going on right now, a lot of moms are homeschooling kids at the same time. Yeah. So how have you, as a successful business owner and a successful mother, how have you been able to have balance in your life with both?
The key to finding balance is setting boundaries. So mom of 5, I have one who has a medical condition. So there's always extra appointments, there's extra worries, extra anxieties, helping my husband run his carpentry business, and then wanting to be active members of a church and a school, and then also running a home-based business. Like, you really need to know your limits. And so for me, what I had to get really clear on was my business hours. And I had to say, okay, these are my business hours. And then I need to honor my family by sticking to those business hours, right? So, if my hours are from, 9 till, I usually do 4 because my kids get home from school at 4:30. So I like to be shutting down at 4 so that I'm like, refocusing and turning my brain off of work mode and into like mom mode, right? Because we wear lots of different hats, right? So I really feel like that's, when we don't stick to our business hours, or we say, oh, I'm just gonna, answer this one message, even though your kids are like, pulling at your pants because they need help with their math homework or whatever. You don't want to end up in a place where your children are resentful of your business. They want to see your business as a blessing, just like you do. So I think just really honoring that time, setting those boundaries, and then really sticking to them and making sure that you are, focusing where you need your focus to be.
That's something I know a lot of people are struggling with, that are either new business owners or now working from their homes when they're usually in their office space. Is it's really easy to just work and work and work if you don't set the boundary. So I love that you stop at 4 to give yourself that half an hour to be like, okay, business hat off, mom hat on, time to learn how to be the math teacher and help the kids. That's really good. And it's really you being intentional with your time and just making sure that, okay, work is this time and then family time is this time. So great tip for anyone listening to this podcast episode. Like, you can't just work and have nothing scheduled to actually stop work and be with the family. It's so important to be present.
And there's times where there's ebbs and flows in the business, as I mentioned, right? So you're going to have busy times and slower times. So there's certain things that you need to prioritize, right? And so when you're a busy mom running a business or two, then you kind of become like, I always joke that I'm like the master at time management and setting priorities. And one thing that I have found to be really helpful actually is to keep like a priority list. So in the morning when I wake up, like after the kids are off to school and my husband's off to work and it's time for me, I really make sure I have that time with God first. So pour my coffee, and actually spend time in prayer and giving my day over to God and saying, okay, God, what would you like me to do today? Right. And just really meditating on that. And then from there, I create a list of priorities. So I have my top 3 things. Every day I have a list of top 3 things that I need to get done. And, sometimes all 3 things are just solely about my business and how I can move forward and how, I need to follow up with that person or schedule that event. But sometimes those top 3 priorities, if I have a child who's sick at home, my top 3 priorities that day are going to be snuggling on the couch and reading books, drinking lots of tea, and maybe folding some laundry, right? So you just have to kind of, manage your time. Otherwise, it will manage you.
It sure will. That's good too, what you shared. Like, if you have a kid sick at home, it's okay to pause for a day and just be present with your child and take care of them. Like, that's okay too. And you starting your day in prayer and coffee or tea or whatever, and just giving your day to God, because ultimately it's his day, right? So we can either spend the day in resistance or flowing with him. Thank you for sharing that. And we might have to have you do one specifically on your time management techniques, because I know you've got a lot going on. So if you can manage it all, you've got to share the goods with all of us. So what else would you like to share with any woman that is listening today that you want to make sure that they walk away with?
So my message for individuals who might be watching, individuals everywhere, men, women, child, one of my pieces of advice is literally to stop eating crap. Like, honestly, we need to stop eating foods that contain artificial ingredients. We really need to eliminate sugar, trans fats, unhealthy fats from our diet, because if we can just do that one thing, that's going to transform our health. That and exercise. Exercise is also really, really important for, just building a healthy brain and just getting your day started and just having, really good blood flow through your blood vessels. We want to have slippery blood, basically is what it's called. You want to have nice, wide open, slippery blood vessels, because when those blood vessels get sticky, and they can get sticky from eating sticky foods, that can lead to some kinds of cancer. It can lead to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and all of that. So we really need to just get back to eating real food. That would be tip number one. And then for any women in business out there, to remember your why. And when you can remember why it is that you do what you're doing, if you can really, just reflect on that calling that God has given you, then you can show up to be the woman that God called you to be.
Thank you for sharing that. And with the food tip, is that something that you coach for people that are working with you? Do you teach us how to eat real food again?
I absolutely do. Yeah, we have a technique that's called traffic light eating. So we put all of every kind of food goes into a category. It's either a green light food, a yellow light food, or a red light food. And we coach our families to, continue to eat in the green light area primarily, sometimes in the yellow light, and then just really try to avoid those red light foods, which are obvious things like pop and chips and candy and that kind of thing, right? But there's activities that you can do as a family even to teach your children about healthy foods. And I mean, my kids will even say it too. If I'm eating something, they'll be like, "Mom, is that a red light food?" And it's just become this little joke, but it really just helps simplify things. And it can help with so many things, right? It's going to reduce inflammation in your body when you're eating well, but it's also going to prevent obesity and diabetes and heart disease. It can just help give your body more energy and help you, focus on your work and your school and whatever you have. So
it's so good. And our bodies are the temple, right, of the Holy Spirit. So we really need to be taking care of them. So I'm glad that you break it down in a way that's easy to understand, and the kids can even get involved as well, and that you're teaching the kids that stuff as well, because that's setting them up for their life, right? So that's so good. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you about working with you, what's the best way to do that?
The best way would be to visit my website. So it's essentiallivingwithmelissa.com. And there's a contact form there that you can contact me, or you can send me an email that's also connected to my website. I'm also on Facebook. So my Facebook page is Essential Living with Melissa Kottlenberg. I'm sure if you just Googled or just searched Essential Living with Melissa, it would probably come up, because most people can't spell my last name. And then I'm on Instagram as well. So essential_living_with_Melissa. So there's all kinds of ways that you can reach me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again for coming on and for sharing all of this insight and wisdom and knowledge. And thank you for all that you do and the impact that you are having for generations. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Anytime. You can come back anytime you want. Like I said, we'll probably need to have you do one on time management. So,
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again, Melissa. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to give us 5 stars and leave a review to help more women find this podcast. If you are a Christian woman, business owner, entrepreneur, and would like some extra motivation and encouragement, head on over to Facebook and request access to my free Facebook group. It's called Flourishing Business Without Overwhelm. Just put that in the search. You should be able to find it. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.